Come here. Get off.
Today we're talking to Rhonisha D. Franklin, pronouns she and her. Rhonisha is a two-time graduate of Howard University with a BA in International Business with a minor in Marketing and Public Relations, which she earned in 2004, and an MBA in Human Resources earned in 2010. Rhonisha began photography in 2007 and opened her studio 7 years later. She prides herself on her ability to create clean, classic images that enable people to present their best selves, and she specializes in portraiture for people of color. Her most recent projects include Profile Noir, currently on exhibit, and The Subtle Strength of Kings, currently in production. In addition to photography and a few other pursuits, Rhonisha owns a logistics company in partnership with her sister. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So, Renisha, when we picked this book for the last episode, and it's called Along for the Ride, and it features this protagonist who spent years doing one thing that she didn't love, and then she decided to make a leap to do something different. And I feel like that touches on your story. Like, we all, just a little background for listeners, viewers, we all went to school together, same time, we know each other, that kind of thing. But I haven't been super in touch with your life. And I've been seeing like you've been like on some whole like other fabulous shit. And so I was just like, when we were reading this, I was like, I know who we can speak to. So it just rings true from the outside looking in. You can fill us in on the rest. But before we even get there, what did little Renisha want to be when she grew up?
Little Renisha wanted to be a teacher. So yeah, so I wanted to be a teacher. And I don't know what it was about the classroom setting, but I would always play school, like with my sisters and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to be a teacher.
And then you learned
Not
how
anymore,
much they
though.
pay teachers. And you were like, nah.
No,
Shout out to the
I mean,
teachers.
shout out to the teachers because I just had my niece and my nephew here. I don't have any children of my own. So shout out to the teachers, shout out to the parents. But my niece came to visit and she was doing, virtual school. And, you know, even in that setting, I could tell like the teacher was just like, okay, trying to just take a deep breath and just kind of go through things. But I feel like even though I'm not in like a classroom setting, that I'm able to still have a teacher type of kind of feel with the things that I do and different things that I'm involved in. So I think I feed that need a little bit.
Right. So, as E was saying, like, you made this, like, massive leap. I'm wondering how the first leap, like, how did you get from little Ronisha wanting to be a teacher to, like, doing all of these very, like, business lady degrees in the School of B? Like, how did you get there?
Yeah. So I didn't even start out in the School of B when I came to Howard. I started in, like, probably 80%, 85% of, kids that go to higher education, they start out in like biology or something because that's what they
Doctor, teacher, lawyer.
Doctor, teacher, lawyer, and those are the things. So I actually, in high school, I actually took a health occupation students of America program. And so for the last 2 years of high school, I was taking classes at the local hospital, preparing to be a pediatrician. And even in the last year, I was shadowing a nurse practitioner at a like a school that was I don't want to say high risk school, I guess you could say. So there was a nurse. Yeah, there was a nurse practitioner on site to do all of the things. So I was heavy into the sciences, heading into undergrad. And so the natural progression for me was to go into biology. So I was a bio major, and then my I think it was second semester of chemistry, took me out. So, so I am not a math person, and I just, me and numbers just, you know, we don't work well together. So,
Y'all not friends.
we're not friends. So the whole chemistry component of things just really, I wasn't happy there. And my mom ended up pulling a test, like, those tests that we do. And it showed that I was more inclined towards business. And so then I started looking at business. But deep down inside, I was actually looking at the fine arts, kids, and I just loved their freedom of expression. Even in high school, the kids that were like in drama or in choir or taking all of the arts classes, I admired them. I admired how they presented. I admired how, they were just freely doing whatever they wanted to do. And one of the greatest classes that my dad made me take was typing. But I was reluctant to take it and mad that I had to take it because it was either jewelry making or typing course. And so he made me take typing. Now I'm very grateful that he made me take it because, I mean, life
It's a
is just so
valuable
much
skill.
easier. Yeah. But at the same time, there was a missing piece of that artistic side of me that was never being fed or filled. And so I even took an interior design class my 5th year at Howard, just to kind of release that need to be artistic. But so the test that my mom showed actually pushed me to the School of Business. So I started business in my second semester of my sophomore year. And international business was the thing. I was taking oral expressions for Spanish, so that's why, I don't know. You just kind of like choose something, and that's what I chose. And then marketing, of course, was kind of like the reasonable minor, and I coupled that with public relations. It sounds good.
Yeah, I feel like it's so I mean, I don't know if there's a different way to do it, but I feel like it's so unfair to like throw these 17, 18, 19-year-olds in college. You're paying, 20, 30,000 a year. And they're like, pick something that supposedly sets the course for the rest of your life. Because like we all just okay, everyone has at least you had your parents had the foresight to give you a test. I was just like, well, which teacher was nice? So yeah, that's really dope. So you were in the School of B. I'm assuming after you graduated, you went to work within the business realm. And then I guess there was some sort of like aha moment where you were like, I got to get the fuck out of here. So what was your aha moment? Like, what was the point where you was like, fuck this, let me go on my own?
Yeah. So I, I wouldn't say aha moment. It didn't come right out of undergrad. So the test was right. So I am a very business minded person. It's in my natal chart. It's all over the place, but there's also a side of me that's very artistic. And so the way that I am composed is that there's always that need for balance between the two. And so what I wasn't aware of was that need for balance. And so I graduated in 2004 and I started in insurance risk management for high net worth individuals. So I had all these big name clients like the Marriotts, the Purdue's, the Mars family, all of these people that I was like digging into all of their personal like risks and seeing how they actually manage things. And so that was great. Like that has had so much impact on how I manage my businesses today, just being able to see how they operate and things. So, but the aha moment that brought creativity or art into my life was constantly waking up, going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, going to sleep. waking up, going home, going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, going to sleep, waking up Wednesday night, going out, coming home, going to sleep, barely waking up in the, the next morning, for Thursday. But that constant every day is the same. And I was laying in my bed and all of my walls were tan and brown. And it was just very safe and very like neutral, and there was nothing exciting about anything. And when I looked at my walls, I burst into tears. And so like within a couple weeks, I got all this paint and painted my walls yellow and green and purple, just to bring some color into my life. But my mom always kept us in like something that was creative. Like she had 5 Girl Scout troops. And so we were always working on an arts and crafts project. And so I was like, I need to get back to that. And so I just started dabbling in everything. And then I dabbled in photography and I loved it and fell in love with it. It brought me back to my father, who was a videographer. He used to do video weddings and stuff. He always had a camera. He would always have us standing there for like 5 minutes trying to get it perfectly in focus because, this is pre-digital. So he doesn't like to waste anything. He's very frugal, very frugal. Very, very frugal. So if he's gonna, click the button, he wants that picture to come out right. So I just remember all of those things came flooding back, and so it was kind of like a space where I was able to release that side that had not been fed for so long. That was my aha moment, looking at my walls and realizing everything was brown. At least for adding in the creative side.
It's amazing how like something so small yet so large just kind of creates this cascade of, okay, I'm changing my life. So what was your transition from that you did to what you currently do?
So it was a transition over some years. So I started photography in 2007, right? So I was still working in corporate America, but I became the girl with the camera. So I just had my camera around with me all the time. I ended up taking a course with Daryl Todd, who teaches a lot of photographers in the Black photographers in the Washington, D.C. area. And after taking his course, he actually invited me along with him to Paris to second shoot for him on a job. Like he chose like his top student to come with him. And so I was the top student.
Hey.
So, right. So, when I saw that side of photography, I was like, oh, this can be like a whole business thing and I can travel and do all of that. No, now you're talking my language, right? So, I just started to kind of like do all of these things. I was shooting everything. Like I was taking pictures of anything that someone wanted me to take a picture of. That's what I would do. But it wasn't until 2014, fast forward, where I was asked to move to Minneapolis with my job. I was doing philanthropic giving, and I managed the East Coast and the Midwest for Target, all of their like law enforcement partnerships and emergency management partnerships. I can't believe I ever did that, but that's what I did. Anyway.
We change and our politics grow.
Yeah. What'd you say?
We change and our politics grow.
Yeah. So definitely. So they were asking me to move to Minneapolis. I'm not moving to Minneapolis. You know how hard it was for me to get outside of the Midwest? I'm not going back. And Minneapolis, they have an exposed skin advisory in the wintertime. Like you can't even have your skin out. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. So it was me and the woman that ran the California, the West Coast. And both of us were like, nah, we're not going. So they eliminated those positions on the coast and then brought them in-house. And so, I was able to walk away, with a severance. And so it allowed me time, space, energy, financial support to be able to really hone in on photography. And that's when I built my studio in 2014. So in that time, I was really trying to narrow down my focus because I didn't like, photographing everything. I don't do newborns. I don't do babies. I was still doing weddings. I don't do weddings anymore. I never considered myself a wedding photographer. I've shot weddings, and I can do them, but I don't like to do them. So portraiture like spoke to me in a way that nothing else did. Like I would look at the back of my camera and tear up, and I felt that soul connection with that aspect of photography. And so that's it. Like I completely got rid of everything in my main area in my condo, and I converted it to a studio and a functioning studio. And that's where 95% of the work that is out there that you see online, or Profile Noir, the project that I completed, Subtle Strength of Kings, the project that I'm working on now, all of that is still done in my 1-bedroom condo in DC. So, so it's definitely, yeah, it was a 360 from like, oh, I hate these walls to, oh, I love these walls. Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in the book that we read last week, it's called Along for the Ride, and the main character's name is Jolene. And she, outside of all the romance stuff, her other big thing is that she's keeping her passion for her work a secret. And it's because in the past, when she's like declared her love for her work, like stuff didn't always pan out. And so she kind of didn't want an audience to see if she fell down on her way to trying to make a new life for herself. Mm-hmm. Did you struggle at all with letting people into your decision to switch things up in your life?
So I don't know if I would call it a struggle. I would call it kind of like a testing of the waters, because I believe very strongly in making sure that you're sharing with the correct people, the people that are going to feed you, feed your vision that you have. Not someone that's like a yes man, but someone that isn't going to just kind of hear what you have to say and then chop it down. So someone that's going to ask the questions, someone that's going to be a support to you. So I had to be very careful with sharing actually with my father, not necessarily the photography part of things, but with leaving my job. So my parents are very supportive of everything that I want to do. But my dad is very conservative when it comes to, having a job and all of those things. And so I knew that going into it. And so I would give him little hints, things here and there. But in 2020, when I actually left corporate America, I told him the day that I submitted my 2 weeks notice. Like I would say, oh yeah, I'm working to leave my job, but I didn't give him the time until I actually submitted it, because you can't share with everybody. Sometimes that's family, sometimes that's friends, but you just have to protect your space and the things that you're set here to do, because you're the only person that is ultimately responsible for your destiny. And so you can't allow distractions in. So
yeah, that's real. So in 2020 you left. How did the pandemic, if at all, influence that decision?
It didn't really, not for me. I don't know. I move in a way that is very thought out and strategic. So I have been planning for this for some time, and I just believe that the universe is abundant. And so when I walk in that knowing and understanding, then I can step on kind of firm ground. Of course, there's fear, there's questions that you have. But as I continued to put one foot in front of the other, opportunities would come. Okay, maybe that's not the right opportunity, but it would leave. But I had that time frame that I was working towards. And so as long as I knew that this was the ultimate goal, because that goal was set 2 years ago. I mean, in 2018, that I was leaving in 2020. So pandemic or not, this is happening. This right here is happening. So, yeah.
I heard you talk a little bit earlier about portraiture and why that's key to you. And, I was looking at some of the images on your site, and it made me think about something that has always really fascinated me about photography. And it's this history of exclusion when it comes to dark skin, right? Like the fact that, back when I was using my mama's she had like this lavender 110 camera that I used to put on my wrist and take everywhere and take pictures. But in every picture, I was a little overexposed little dark spot because I was always the darkest one out of my crew. And growing older and learning that was really by design, right? That film was calibrated to better capture lighter skin. I'm wondering, if at all, how this legacy of bias impacts the way that you shoot your subjects.
So I I love, and so my portfolio is of Black people, and I've never been a photographer that's been, oh, I need to diversify so that I can, have, a broader range of clients and everything. And,
For what?
So that's just what I do. So I made it my mission, either consciously or subconsciously, to be able to photograph brown skin in a way that is seen, and beautiful. And not everybody can do that. And I love to be able to have that focus on brown skin. And if if it's, a lighter hue or a darker hue, to me, um, it's all beautiful. But when I get a really dark skinned, mother of the earth toned goddess in my studio, like, I kind of like am transported in a way that I hope, resonates through the work that I do. So, Profile Noir was set up so that it was a range of colors and textures and ages of Black women. And it's always those darker skinned, really luxuriously rich tones that I feel are actually, for me, easier to work with. So when I get, someone that is more fair skinned, um, maybe had, a little bit more colonization impact in their bloodline, um, sometimes it's, for me, I'm playing with the light a little bit more. I have to adjust more. I have to get the tones just right. So I think it's for the work that I do. I think it's maybe more subconscious than conscious because I'm focused on brown skin. But I can definitely tell the difference when I'm working um, with different skin tones. But they're all beautiful. But there is just something about like a very rich, textured, luscious brown skin woman. So
That's luscious.
It is your Profile Noir project. Like you can tell in the portraits that you take that you love and appreciate Black women. It just comes through in everything that you photograph. And so I absolutely adore it. It's beautiful.
thank you.
But what's your favorite thing about what you do?
I love that it is a healing modality. So not only for the people that sit for me, there's a level of healing that comes into play, especially when we do profile noir sessions or portrait sessions, headshot sessions too. But people are usually in the studio headshot sessions thinking business and, oh, I got to get this pose right. But still, there's still a level of magic that occurs even then. But healing for them, because they're going through a process of pampering themselves. They come in, makeup is included in my session. So, especially for Profile Noir, a lot of the women that are a little bit more mature in age may not have ever had their makeup done. a couple of them didn't. And so I remember one woman, she started crying as soon as like we got one, you know, lash on. It's like, oh, hold on now. Like, yes, have this moment, but we gotta still
We gotta
keep
make this
going.
lash
So,
stick.
yeah, okay. So, yeah, but it was beautiful to have that release. Or, one woman sat down, and the way that I have my settings set up is that I have music playing in the background that doesn't have words. It's just very soft, but it causes you to kind of go within yourself, so I create a safe space, and she was in this moment of like feeling herself and seeing herself, even though she couldn't see herself, like having this moment of just being, maybe it was being seen by someone else, and she just burst into tears. So that happens very frequently in my studio, and so I like that it's healing for them, but this is all very healing for me as well, because it's been very recent that I've felt comfortable in my own skin. And that stems from, a lot of people have the same story where they were one or one of three, black kids in their class growing up, or, living on the predominantly white side of town. And, I went to predominantly black church. So having like those conflicts of not really knowing where to fit, it's a common story. So I'm not saying that, I'm special to anyone, but it's my story. And so then coming to Howard and being exposed, and, um, you know, really kind of having a sense of self kind of helped catapult me over the years into this space. But it was photography that really helped me to see me for me, because I'm seeing my insecurities, I'm seeing my beauty, I'm seeing my strength, I'm seeing my power through the women that I photograph. So even though I'm behind the camera, the healing process still translates through me, because I feel like you photograph what you are, you photograph how you feel, you photograph how you express. And so, um, yeah, I love that it's a healing modality.
So I'm curious about what books, and don't leave out your own, you think that our listeners should read. We always, we talk about books here. What books should folks read?
Well, yeah. So, Profound War is a coffee table book. So, um, I think that it's a great piece to have in your home. Great conversation starter. It, if you have children, especially young girls, it's a great way for them to be able to see themselves through the images and the women that are um, a part of that initial part of the project. Because the project is still growing. It's still adding more and more people, but it's on an online basis, not just the print. So, of course, Profound War. Um, and then I think a lot of people are hip to the Four Agreements. I read that probably like 6 years ago. It's definitely something to an easy read, and something that you can go back to every time that you need like a reminder of different things, of um, those agreements that you make with yourself and with other people. So I really love that. So the Capricorn side of me, the business person, um, highly recommends the 5 a.m. Club. And that was recommended to me by my PR coach. And I love that book. It's written as a story, but it's um, something that you should take notes on and kind of try to incorporate different aspects of things. But it talks about waking up every day at 5 a.m. and it gives you kind of like a layout of what an ideal day should look like. Now, everybody's not going to fall into that same process and things, but if there's certain things that you can pick out, um, because I have a lot of friends that are not 5 a.m. people, right?
Yeah,
But there
listen.
are
If I
different.
see 5 a.m., it's because my insomnia is kicking my ass.
So maybe it's the flip side of that. Maybe you flip all of the nuggets and things that they have inside of the book and just put it at different time frames that work for you, because we're not all the same. And so, we operate differently, but I know that it works for me. I am a morning person. And so, waking up at 5 a.m., that's when I'm my sharpest. It's when I'm ready to go. It's when all of those things. So 5 a.m. club, I love it. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, like 10 a.m. is like 6 p.m. for me. By like 10, I am dull.
Yeah. I'm like,
I legit start my work day at 10 a.m. That's when I start work.
Oh, God. Yeah. Like
I like a slow morning.
Yeah, I have to, I do the slow, like the autopilot stuff by like late morning, afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is horrible when we're it's horrible when we're trying to schedule things, Kenrya and I, because I'm like, let's do it early, and she's like, 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least,
funny,
Erica,
though.
by then you can have all of your major things done, and it's just kind of like, oh, let me just close out the day after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I do my major stuff first, though. I call that eating my frog. I do the hardest parts and the things that require the most concentration, like writing first thing in the day, because that's when my brain is sharpest. It's just that my first thing in the day is later than y'all's.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And that's the process that I was talking about, like how they lay it out is like, what you're focusing on, your top 3 things or your 5 little tasks, making sure that you schedule time, like an hour out of your day to do whatever it is that you need to do. An hour out of your day to have some type of other education. So maybe it's an hour you're reading a different book that has nothing to do with work, or 15 minutes where you go and you take a walk outside. So it helps to kind of structure things. And if you're a Capricorn or an earth sign that needs kind of like that foundation, then it'll work very well for you. Yeah. So.
Word. And I know you have a special code for our listeners. They can use the code Profile Noir, PROFILENOIRE, when they purchase a copy of the coffee table book. Where would they purchase it to enter that code?
So you can go on my website, www.rdionphoto. It's RDIONEFOTO.com/shop. And you can order a book and just type in the code there, and you'll receive, when you order the book, you'll receive a complimentary Profile Noir coffee mug with it.
Awesome. And that's through the end of May. How many days in May? May 31st, 2021. So if you're listening to this after that, sorry, but go buy your copy anyway. Because it's dope.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So we like to ask here at the Turn On, what is turning you on today?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, today I'm out in Arizona. So my logistics company is out here, and so I'm bi-coastal between Arizona and DC. And right now it's blue skies. My mom's actually visiting, so we're gonna go by the pool. So I think the weather right now is a huge turn on. In general, in life, I am feeling very free. Free, spiritually. I feel free emotionally, financially, romantically, all of those things. I feel like things that I have been working towards over the past 5 years, I would say specifically, are coming into fruition. And I just turned 40 on January 19th. And so I feel a sense of like self and strength that it's a new space for me. So I'm still trying to get used to it. But life is turning me on. Like all of the juiciness of life, all of the things that I'm able to experience through the things that I've been able to manifest, over the years. It's just turning me on. I love it.
That's
I want more of it.
The sweetness and delectableness of life. I
Yes.
love it. Okay, so we like to do a rapid fire.
Oh, I've done one of these before.
I won't. It won't
never
be too
really
difficult.
rapid fire.
Yeah, it's never really because we answered and we blah blah blah. So anyway, beach or mountains?
Beach. I'm a daughter of Yemoja, so I love the
Yes.
ocean.
Yeah, I said I'm like, I can't swim, but
I am also a daughter of Obasala, so he's the mountain. So when you said beach or mountains, I was like, ah! But yeah, I'm gonna go with my mama with the ocean.
Okay, cake or pie?
Pie. I don't like cake.
Oh, I like
Okay,
cake. I just like pie better.
so what's your favorite pie? Now I need more answers.
I love pecan pie. I think I got that from my dad.
That's what I thought. I mean, like when you said pie, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like a good apple pie, but pecan
Ooh,
pie?
apple pie with a little crisp on it, and then a la mode with some vegan ice cream.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The hot, the warm, and the cold.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Books or movies?
Ooh,
That's an impossible choice.
dang it. I don't know. I'm gonna say movies.
Okay. And in the theme
I'm a visual artist.
Exactly. Following the theme of the book that we just read, would you rather be the driver or the passenger on a long road trip?
Passenger.
Yeah.
Passenger.
I'm like, I'm the DJ.
Passenger.
All right, that's all I got for you. See, it was quick and easy.
Thank you.
So my last question is, what's next for you?
What's next? You know, that's my next question too. So right now, just getting settled into this situation that I have between logistics and photography in Arizona and DC, and enjoying this new relationship and experiencing and learning and just kind of like being in that space. Understanding who I am going to be, who I am entering into my 40s, and then where I want to be. So right now, I feel like I'm trying to still figure that out. But for what's next, you know, I guess I would just say that I'm open to a flow of things, whatever comes my way. I would love to, for photography specifically, I would love to have more museum exhibits. And I actually have one that's coming up in the fall. More museum exhibits, artist talks. I love to have those. So I think that is what's coming up. Finishing out this project of Subtle Strength of Kings. So on the photography side. For logistics, just making sure that I'm able to take care of my 40 some employees and provide benefits and all of those things, and encourage them to pursue their dreams, and hopefully being a foundation for them to be able to do that. And then personally, really digging into myself and like exploring more of my spiritual side of things, becoming a little bit more in tune and aware of my spiritual power that I possess, that I have, you know, like learning more about myself, digging more into my astrology chart, just doing a lot of like self exploration, on the road to self actualization, and then just loving on my love, you know, and my family, and my friends that are in my life. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Thank you so much for joining us. And before you go, let folks know where they can find you. I know you gave us your site earlier, but where are you on Twitter and IG and Facebook and all those places?
Sure. So Twitter, not so much. I mean, I have a handle, but I don't even know the last time I posted it. So Instagram, I'm at rdione, RDIONE. And I also have a kind of like a little uh, I guess I don't want to say exposure because that's the name of it. So it's melanated exposure, but it's where I talk about, you know, Black things and try and give Black businesses and Black artists kind of like a platform. I also try to bring together people of color to have certain experiences. It's definitely been something that's kind of like on the, been kind of just on the burner a little bit, just sitting over there. But it's still active, but it's melanated exposure, at melanated exposure for Instagram. And then on Facebook, you can find me either rdione photo. Photo is spelled with an F, or you can go to my personal, which is Renisha Franklin. And then website is photo with an F.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for letting us know. Y'all go and find her and follow her. And that's it for this week's episode of The Turn On. Thanks, y'all, for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for saying yes.
Absolutely.
This episode was produced by us, Kenrya and Erica, and edited by Ballistic. The theme music is from Brazy. Hit subscribe right now in your favorite podcast app and at youtube.com/The Turn On Podcast so you'll never miss an episode.
Then follow us on Twitter at The Turn On Pod and Instagram at The Turn On Podcast. And you can find links to books, transcripts, guest info, what's turning us on, and other fun stuff at theturnonpodcast.com.
And don't forget to email us at theturnonpodcast@gmail.com with your book recommendations and your pressing sex and related questions.
And you can support the show by leaving us a 5-star review, buying some merch, or becoming a patron of the show. Just head to theturnonpodcast.com to make that happen.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon. Holla.